Welcome to Casa Italia. Welcome to our Casa Italia Library's main event, our biggest effort of the year to save our stories in programming. Of course, we're saving our stories in the library, in the archives, on YouTube, and in publishing books. We've published more than 25 books in the last 15 years. Our mission is to SOS, save our stories. And most of you in the room are sensitive to that objective. You're writers and readers, and you understand the situation. We've got to save the Italian-American stories because what? Because
no one else will do it.
No one else will do it, or if they do it,
they'll do it poorly.
Okay, they'll do it poorly, or we'll get smash hits like The Godfather and The Sopranos. Tremendous art, but it shows just a small part of who we are. Anyhow, I have been blessed with volunteers. People come here, I don't know why, they come for maybe they come for the coffee. But I snooker them into doing things. I'm famous for, every time I meet someone, I ask myself, how can they help save our stories? And what thing can they do for us? And luckily, between the coffee, which is provided by Ross there is our coffee expert. Wednesdays, Wednesday afternoon at 2:30 we have coffee, but you can come by 1 and I'll snooker you into doing some work for the library. And then you'll be happy. The exchange is pretty good. Anyhow, we're here at Casa Italia is alive and kicking. You may have heard some things. You may have seen some demolition equipment. You may have seen some trees being removed. But we simply have a new landlord, and it's the village of Stone Park. It's a better landlord than the Scalabrini fathers, although we're very happy that the Scalabrini fathers founded this place in the 1930s. They dedicated it to promoting religion, and Father Scalabrini, or Bishop Scalabrini, is now a saint. So we should have more prestige because we are the product of the work of a certified saint of the Catholic Church. And we in fact do have an exhibit, and I don't know how long it's going to be there, that highlights the career of Saint Scalabrini, and it's on the 3rd floor. In addition, if some of you are new, you should know that we have an Italians in Chicago exhibit above this room. We have an art gallery on the north end of the 2nd floor. On the 3rd floor above this room, we have a magnificent reproduction of St. Peter's Square, the Vatican, and we have a record collection there on that floor. And we also have the Scalabrini exhibit as well. So thank you for coming today, but we've got a couple of other things that you might want to get involved in. We have flyers outside, you can pick them up. We do some things on Zoom, and one of the things is an Italian-American Authors Book Club, and that is the 3rd Tuesday of every month. and it's on Zoom. And we've done some other things on Zoom as well, so you don't have to be here physically to benefit from what we're doing. And we're doing Christ in Concrete this month, and in fact, on coming Tuesday night at about 6:30 is when it is. So check this out, it's on the rack outside. And also we're doing another Zoom presentation of the last letter from Sicily by Lindsay Marie Morris on June 11th. That's 1 to 2 p.m. And you can sign up for that and not leave your home, and you don't have to put any clothes on.
Well,
I mean, it's not mandatory. Nothing's mandatory.
Don't forget the electrical tape.
I guess that's it. SOS events, come to Casa Italia. Oh, sign up for, befriend our Facebook page, Casa Italia Library.
Welcome, everyone. In addition to a lot of our Zoom events, we do have other in-person events such as this one, and though the Italian Cultural Center isn't hosting the next upcoming event, Patronato Acri is, with Anna Giacone being represented here, and Eloisa, a citizen, how to get your Italian citizenship. It's an in-person event on
Yes.
What date, remind me?
Friday the 23rd at 6 o'clock.
So there you have it, in this room with updated information
Yes,
on how
and
to.
there was some information released last night late, and I
Oh.
had a chance to read it,
Well,
so
very nice.
it's not good for people who.
But at least we're informed, and we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for programming
Right.
such as that, so thank you.
We ask, excuse me. we
yes,
ask
please.
That people will reserve, RSVP.
Is that what you'd like?
Please share that information with your friends and family, and let them know. Well, everybody's welcome to come. Thank you.
Thank you. So as mentioned, we have a lot of in-person events coming up, and we're here not just on Wednesdays from 10 to, not 10, from 1 to 5, but we're here, I'm doing the same thing. But we're also here on Saturdays from 10 to 2. And every once in a while, we have wonderful events such as this one to busy us on Saturdays. But we're here and we're open to the public from 10 to 2 on Saturdays. So I'm looking around and I see a lot of familiar faces, but I also see a lot of faces I don't recognize, so I need to introduce myself. My name is Anna Weiss. I'm one of the several volunteers here at Casa Italia, and I've been here about 11 years. But my point here now is to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Christina Marrocco. Dr. Christina Marrocco has been a participant of IA Literati for 2022, 23, 24, and now has agreed to join us this year in 2025. She is the author of Addio, Love Monster, and which won the Chicago Writers Association Book of the Year for Best Indie.
Right.
Yes. So she was a participant on our Women's Day panel discussion, and she collaborated with us on our recent publication in November 2024, Italian Women in Chicago, in which she graciously wrote an introduction for us and also contributed as an author, an article. She's an exceptionally talented writer, and I know I'm missing something. Oh, she has a full-time job. She's an associate professor of English at Elgin Community College, in which she teaches creative writing.
Yes.
And we are honored when she agreed to be our keynote speaker today. And as soon as she agreed, she took on the task like no one I've ever seen. So we're very excited to have her. I'm excited to have her. So welcome, Dr. Christina Marrocco.
I'm a shy person who likes to talk, so that necessitates a timer, right? And I'm happy to use it for the other readers as well, just because I think we tend to be shy people who like to talk. Alrighty, I'm really honored to be here to do this. I do want to say that before I begin. And I do need to set this. I just need to turn it on. And you see my hands shake, and I think I'm going to use that just to talk to the other people who are reading today too. We all feel nervous when we get up here because what we're doing is so important. It's important to us. It's important to our lineage, to our ancestors, to all the people in this room. But when you get up here, that shaking only lasts for a second, and then you get rolling, and it's all fine. So we're all in the same pot, as I was just saying to someone else. When we stand up at a podium, it can be a little bit unnerving. So here we go. Gardafe, Di Rosa, Artisone, Mancini, Ermelino, Capernoloid, Tintori, Viscusi, Tamburi, Cola, Giudici, Marrocco, Rosanova, Corsino, Candeloro, Di Stasi, Orsi, Chiavala, Birnbaum, Trigiani, Mangione, Fante, Giunta, Di Salvo, and more, but not enough. These are our Italian-American writers. There are many, but it's not enough. 5.5 million Italians immigrated to America, and 15 million seems to be the current number of self-identifying Italian-Americans. But our stories, despite the list I just read you, remain largely untold. There are so many more to tell. They need telling, and in particular, I believe, the Chicago Italians, and now I do mean Chicagoland. I don't want to be, like someone from Chicago's like, oh, you live in Elgin. But the Chicagoland Italian-American stories really need telling and preserving. They have to be shared and they have to be given legs. And there is a time limit, which is what Dominic was just talking about as well. I'm really going to second a lot of what Dominic said. I'm really here to be, I think, a cheerleader in the writing of these things. That's the most important thing I could do with this keynote address, the most important thing. In the introduction to his book, Dago's Read, Fred Gardafe writes that recognizing a literary tradition belongs to the individual reader and writer. And that's us. That's us. There's nobody else. We've got to read them and we've got to write them. I'm a writer, a poet, I'm a teacher of writing, I'm a professor. I think there's a difference between a teacher and a professor, and I think you can be both. There's professing, and then there's teaching, getting down in the trenches with people, encouraging people to create their own art, and that's what teaching is. It's guiding in a lot of ways. I'm also the prose editor now for Ovunque Siamo Journal of New Italian American Writing, so if you're working on something and you're kind of new to writing, or even if you're not, submissions, there are places to send your work. My prize-winning pig over there is on the table, as well as the beautiful anthology that was put together through Casa Italia. And I'm going to encourage you to read it. I've heard it's wonderful. I have a book of Welsh stories from the dead coming out soon as well, but I'm really here today to speak about your work. I'm here to speak about the work that you're going to write, or that you're going to inspire other people to write, people in your family, people in your communities, whatever that may be. Preserving the stories. It has to be done now. And as I was sitting planning this, I really thought, well, what better time? Because, I don't know, there's this Pope guy who's bringing a lot of attention to Chicago, right? And there's an Italian-American heritage there as well. So I feel like there's something ascendant for us in capturing these stories right now. There's a timing, there's a kairos, something's going on here that really matters. And maybe makes it a little bit easier, maybe draws things from us in a different way. So when we talk about writing and what you're going to write or what is being written, We always go back to these rhetorical terms. They're very, very fancy. They're called so what and who cares, right? So what and who cares? We often ask ourselves these questions when we sit down to do something, right? And we often ask that in a kind of negative tone, right? More like a, so what? Who cares? Who's gonna read this? You know, so what do I have to say that's any different than what someone else has said? But I think if we ask these questions in a positive tone, you get a really different answer. So what? And who cares? Like, someone cares, who cares? So I want to answer those questions for you and then talk to you a little bit about how and when the writing happens. All right. So what? So what? It's history. That's what. It's history. So what? It's sociology. That's what. When we write our stories, we're doing a sociological endeavor. So what? It's anthropology. Anthropology is important. That's so what. Like Aristotle said, you want to inform, you want to entertain, and maybe most of all, you want to persuade. When you create art, you're persuading someone to have an emotion, to feel something differently than they felt it before, to understand something differently than they have before, to have new realizations, to have a depth of knowledge that they did not come with. That's not just information. That's a transformation in the person who is exposed to your art, be that written or otherwise. Who cares? You care. If you did not care about Italian American literature, you'd not be in this room. If you did not care about literature, you would not be in this room. I care, obviously. The Italian American community cares, and it needs this. It needs the representation in the literary and art world. We come from a history of art, and Italian Americans can really devour one another's art. They can celebrate one another's art. The diaspora cares. And so when I say the diaspora, I don't mean just in America. I went to a conference in Genova last December. It was a Diaspora Italiani conference. I will butcher Italian, but I'm trying. So just so you know, like, if I'm assaulting you with my Italian, it's okay because I'm learning and I'm getting better. But I went to this conference and there were Australian Italians, there were Brazilian Italians, there were Canadian Italians, and they were all interested in what we were writing, and we were interested in what they were writing. There's a readership that is larger. There's a diasporic readership. There's an American readership, and I think sometimes we've felt that it's for us, by us, that it's our thing, and it is in a lot of ways. But there are people, I have a group of 90-year-old ladies in Elgin who are not Italian American, who picked up my book and loved it and had me come and speak about the book. So we don't need to limit ourselves. Yes, there are messages and there are realities in our writing that will kind of only be really appreciated by people within the group, but there's so much about what we're doing that is useful to other immigrant communities and just to this country and globally. Internationally is the last one I want to hit on, right? There's readership there as well, but we have to create it. Which brings me to the how and the when. So, start where you are. Some of you are already writing, a lot of you are probably already writing, but there are other things still for you to write. There are more things still for you to write. You may have multiple projects, or someone may be completely new to putting down their story. Start today. Write something down. We think not before we write, but as we write. If you're waiting to have the entire plan and where you're going to publish it or who you're going to give it to and everything you're going to say, if you're waiting until that forms in your head before you start writing, you may never get there. You need to start writing now, put the first sentence down, and then a new thought will come to you, a new idea, a new motivation. It will expand on the paper for you because we think when we write, and we think in different ways. I think it's Bertolt Brecht who said, now I'm gonna get it wrong here. If you do not write, you do not think, and if you do not think, others will do your thinking for you. And that really touches on what Don was just saying too, about who's going to tell our stories. If we're not telling them, they will be told. And in an age of AI, that becomes more chilling, perhaps, than it has been in the past. Decide what you want to do as you go, or even after you complete. Maybe you create something, you say, I have no idea what in the world I'm going to do with this mess of notes and memories I wrote down. Or this investigation I did into the history of pine nuts in Melrose Park, right? But I'm gonna get it, and then I'm gonna decide what happens to it. So maybe you create an entire book, and you march happily off to find a publisher, and the publisher goes, oh, we've been waiting all our lives for you. Let us market your book. It could happen, it probably won't. But you can have that dream. But maybe you write an entire book and you want to share it with your family. Maybe that's your purpose. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with preserving for posterity as well. There's nothing wrong with writing the book and struggling and fighting to find how you're going to publish it and making decisions as you go along with marketing your own work. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. They're all wonderful. Maybe you speak into a recording device and you collect memories, and then you give that recording to a friend or a relative or someone else who later on, maybe now, maybe in another lifetime, decides to create a piece of writing from it, decides to preserve it in a more visible way to everyone. But you've got to get it down for any of those things to happen. So that becomes archival material. And you might work alone, and you might work in a group. And then I want to give you more choices because, you know, it's all about choices. You might write a novel. You might write your thoughts out and create music to represent them. I thought it was mine for a minute. You might work in memoir or autobiography. We've got an autobiographical writer with us today who's going to talk about that. You might create a short film. You might get on YouTube and record yourself just taking down memories. But again, I'm going to repeat myself, not because I forgot that I said it before necessarily. That could be the case as well. But you've got to start. And you know, I think that you want to start. I think you want to start. I think you think about starting all of the time. So Anne Lamott, who writes about writing, says, you know, butt in the chair, start each day anywhere. And what she means is not like anywhere like outside, inside, you know, your kitchen table. She means anywhere in the story. Mm-hmm. You don't have to start at the beginning. You don't have to know. You can start with a chunk that finds itself in any space within what you want to write. Let yourself do it badly. Let yourself do it terribly, atrociously, horrendously. It's okay. And if it comes out wonderful, that's great too. Revision is going to be the key. So usually when things appear for the first time, they're disjointed, they're halfway done, they're like little shadows creeping around, normal. Let yourself have that with no shame. And just write one passage at a time. That's what Anne Lamott says. I agree with her, but I would add to that, be authentic. Tell it as you see it, as you see it. Even if someone else you know in your family would argue with you that that's not the way it happened, right? Even if you are afraid that other people in your community might not like the thing that you're putting up for discussion, that's okay. If you're authentic and you really believe this needs to be put up for discussion, you put it up for discussion. Guilt is a thing, and it can silence us. So we have to silence that. Write it anyway. You can always revise, and you might also need to stop and conduct research. That can be picking up the phone and talking to someone. That can be being in the archives and looking through. You know, I needed, in that book, I needed to put linoleum in a kitchen, right? I knew it was linoleum, but I didn't know like what color in 1956 was available. I could have made something up, but I had to go and look and see what there actually was, because even in fiction, You're writing truth. You're just writing it in a different format. So, the Nigerian writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie says that there's a thing called the danger of the single story. Okay, danger of the single story. And I think Italian Americans have suffered from the danger of the single story or the nearly single story for a long time. I have, no issue with reading things that have to do with mafia. I have no issue with that. That's okay. But it's become a single story in a lot of ways. It's kind of eclipsed the other realities and the other writing in some ways. So the more we write, the more we throw into the pot so that we have variety of story. We have variety of lenses. We have a variety of realities. And it's really important that we don't simply have a single story. So it's just another reason to get your stories out there and going. And lastly, I recommend for everybody, professional writer to beginning writer, join a writers group. It can be an ad hoc writers group of people you just know who are trying to write. It can be a writers group in your community that, you see a sign up somewhere and you're like, I'm gonna go check that out. It can be at your local library. It can probably be through Casa Italia. There's a lot of options there. But join one because you need the support, right? Writing is, it's hard. And it's you on the page and it's your family on the page. So having other people to talk to about it and to show your work to, people who are in the same fight that you're in to do this work, is really important. The flip side of that, and this is an opinion, do not show your work to your family while you're writing it. Do not show it to them while it's emerging from you as this newborn little larva of your thought, because invariably they will squish it and that will be the end of it. And it's not because they're mean or bad, it's because they recollect differently. They want to see in there what it is, the way they would have written it, but they're not doing the work. You're doing the work. So don't do that. At the end, absolutely. But keep it to yourself when it is growing, when it is infant. I recommend you read Italian American writers, but don't tell yourself I have to read them before I start writing. Start writing now, read them as you go. If you like languages, consider learning Italian if you don't already speak it. But don't wait to start writing until you study Italian. Start writing now and learn your Italian as you go. Consider visiting Italy if you have the ability and the desire to do so, but don't wait to start writing until you visit Italy. Start writing now. Think about small presses when you start writing. Casa Italia, Ovunque Siamo. A lot of your university presses might be places you want to go. You may look at larger houses and you may look at self-publishing. All of those things are viable. You'll find what works for you. And if you need a push or a pull, I'm local. Feel free to email me. My website is ChristinaMarrocco.com. Very easy. All my contact info is on there. I'm never going to be like, who is this person bothering me now with their story? I'm going to say, that's wonderful. I'm glad you're writing. Do you want to send me a couple paragraphs? Do you want some feedback from me when you're ready? I, like your family, could squash your beautiful larva. So don't send it to me until you're feeling confident that you have down on paper what you want, but I'm available to you. And the last thing, got a couple minutes left, so we're gonna do this. You didn't think you weren't gonna write something today, did you? Would you guys just hand down a piece of paper? And I've got some pens. And this isn't gonna take long, you're not writing a book, do not worry. I watched you all revert to high school. Your faces, you just all reverted to high school. All right, here's what I want you to do. Set your pen down. Stop touching your paper. Close your eyes. Close them. Put your feet flat on the floor. I want you to just take a deep breath. And then I want you to release it. We're not going to do yoga, don't worry. Take another deep breath. Release it. In your mind's eye, you're young, with family, sitting outdoors in the sun, and there's a lawn chair next to you. It's not empty. It's someone from the older generation sitting there with you. In your mind's eye, who is it? In your mind's eye, they have something in their hands. What is it? What are they doing? What are they saying? Open your eyes, don't look at your neighbor. Write down what you saw, what you thought of, what your memory gave you. Okay. Now there's a person next to you or a person in front of you. I just want you to verbalize to that person a little bit of what you got. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. It's like 30 seconds each. But put it out into the world. Tell somebody near you what it is that you wrote down. And if you didn't write anything down, tell them what was in your head. But you could talk for half an hour about this. You could talk for half an hour, you would get additional ideas, you would jot things down, and this is why, first of all, your memory and your emotions are the door to your writing, all right? But it's also why a writer's group really matters, because alone, without being able to talk about what you just did, it's a more lonely endeavor, right? But the buzz in this room, when you started talking, was like a hive of bees in here. And all of those memories and all of those ancestors and all of those people, you know, in the spirit, in memory, they were among us. And you know, if that doesn't make the hair on your arm stand up and your heart open up to literature and to writing, I don't know what will. So you did wonderfully with that, wonderfully. Shove that piece of paper into your pocket, hang it on your refrigerator, you know, leave it on the floor of your car, whatever it is you do. But, you know, but keep the idea, keep the thought. You started today. You started a new something today. So I thank you for that. We're done with the keynote address.